notes.
I need notes.
What do you need notes for?
Because I have numbers on them.
All right. Hey,
this.
Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, right? Boss Up and List Day, which is our all-day Wednesday, every Wednesday virtual listing party that we do in the Boss Facebook group. So as I've said a million times before, and we'll say a million times after this, if you're not in the Boss Facebook group, you should be joining the Boss Facebook group, and the link is down below in the video. And I'm here with Vicky, aka Victoria, aka LV Pink Panther, aka still my fiance. She hasn't
for now
ditched me yet, so even though she keeps talking about how messy I am, I mean, you realize that that's not changing, right?
Yeah, I'm aware. If I murder her in her sleep, it's going to be because of the mess that she left behind in her office or the kitchen.
What about the fact that she is like overly a neat freak? Okay, maybe that's my complaint. Huh?
Do you like a nice house?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right then.
All right. Hey guys, we actually have a special guest with us today, Colleen Gallagher. You want to go ahead and say hi, Colleen?
Hi everyone.
Yeah, we were having technical difficulties and she couldn't get her camera to work. And then somehow at exactly 11 o'clock, we don't even know what happened, but it magically started working. So hopefully it's going to work, continue through the show. She does have to get out of here early today, so we'll jump into talking to her pretty quickly. But welcome everybody, and kind of what we're doing. What?
I said hi.
Okay. Victoria says hi.
Well, you just started. I didn't get a word in edgewise yet, so I was kind of just trying to say hi.
What would you like to tell
That's
everybody?
pretty much all I had to say before you ran me over. Go ahead, dear.
It happens. Yeah, she was just saying that she doesn't think that we'll even have a full show's worth of content today. And I'm like, are you kidding? Have you known me for a while now? Have you heard me talking?
Yeah, I know.
Things that normally would maybe take you 2 minutes usually takes me about 15. So I think we're going to be good to go. But anyway, welcome everybody. I'm sure that we've got some new people out there today and a lot of people coming back. I see some people. Shelly Robbins says that she finally caught a live show. So that's super cool.
I saw a question way up at the top.
Yeah, I think Karen Koss, she is excited because she's finally made a live show at the beginning. She did have a question. It looks like she was asking about how I categorize my vintage t-shirts by price. I'll just jump in and answer that question really quick since you came early just to ask it. I don't necessarily have categories for t-shirts. I pretty much price them all at either $49.99 or $59.99, and then I have my 40 and 50% off sales. It kind of just depends on what they are, unless it's something that I think is super special, unique, that I price even higher. But that's just the way I do it. Everybody can do it differently. But I hope to sell it with the sales and stuff. Generally, I try to sell my t-shirts for $30, sometimes $25. Is what the prices end up being. But that's how I price my stuff. I don't know, how do you do yours?
Well, I don't really focus on t-shirts quite as much as Katie, but I do probably have at least 100 in my store. You know, I pretty much price my stuff by what I think it should sell for. I know that's probably not the right answer. I don't do a lot of research anymore, at least not on clothing, unless it's something, you know, really spectacular or different. For the most part, unless it's a brand I've never heard of, I kind of know what things sell for, what I think they should sell for. If I think it's pretty cool, I mean, it's going to be, you know, $29.95, $39.95, $49.95, kind of like you. I don't do 40 or 50% off sales, but I do run sales anywhere from 10% off to 30% off, depending on, you know, what I feel like. I generally, when I run a sale, I run it on the whole store. Some people do categories. I tend to always have something going on in my store. So anyway, thank you for the belated happy birthdays from everybody. I appreciate it.
Yay!
I had a great birthday. If anybody saw the video, Katie put up a real nice video. I arranged a really good surprise for me. My daughter came in, and I hadn't seen her in a really long time, so it was pretty sweet. We spent the whole weekend together. It was a nice time.
It was a good weekend, and now we're back to the old grind.
Back to the routine.
Yep.
Listing my butt off.
Yep. But quickly, I'm going to go into. Christiane says, "Don't make me cry again, darn it." No, there's no donuts left.
No.
And I
did actually throw away a few of them because, you know, the one thing about Krispy Kremes is that they're disgusting day two because they're just hard as a rock.
They're just so good, like right when they first. But we had this amazing cake. I don't know if you guys follow Victoria on Instagram, but we have a friend who is an amazing pastry chef and just chef in general and baker, and she made this unbelievable blueberry lemon cake. And I don't even like cake, but it had like this custard filling in it.
It was
tasted
lemon.
almost,
it was a lemon Mascarpone.
Yeah.
No, mascarpone frosting and then a lemon curd.
Yeah, it
filling with layers
lemon
and
custard
fresh
or whatever.
blueberries. It was unbelievable.
So freaking good. But there was still some left Monday morning. We were going back to keto. So we had Derek swing on by, Big Fish, as you guys know him. And he snatched up that cake. He said, if you have anything left over in the house that you can't eat on Monday morning, I'll come get it. And he did. Believe me, he did. He came and he ate
did.
that.
And I think I gained 5 pounds in about 3 days, but I did lose it all already. So
mostly like wire weight.
I'm sure it was whatever. It was all Krispy Kreme.
Anyway, so I'm going to go real quick and talk about our sponsors. Our sponsor. I wish I had sponsors, guys. But anyway, our one sponsor, Sizely. I've talked about them a million times before, but they are awesome. I've been using them for pretty much the entire time that I've been selling on eBay, over 2 years now. They're in pretty much every listing of mine because I do all clothing. So they're a great company that provides templates for showing measurements in your listings and hopefully avoid too many returns, which we'll be talking about later on in the show. But they're super awesome. I have, let's see, I'll show you real quick. I have the pro account. I like it the most. It gives me over 100 templates that I can use. Like I said, I use it every single day. It's $8 a month. If you do it monthly, I think it's $7 a month if you sign up for a whole year, but totally worth it because of everything you get. And guys, they just added some templates. So I'm going to show you those really quick because I'm pretty excited about this. So they used to have, before they just had like only women's shoes for some reason. And they recently finally added men's shoes. And I'm kind of stoked about this. I was going to show you this real quick. Yeah, like they added, so now you can actually show, like it says slippers, but this is like Vans shoes.
Like a loafer, like a slip on. Yeah.
You got tennis shoes. You got like, it says moccasin, but these are kind of like boat shoes. They added a bunch of bags, different types of bags, which I think is pretty cool. Football jersey, but it just kind of looks like a t-shirt. But the baseball tee, I just used that for the first time yesterday, which I was pretty stoked about, otherwise known as a raglan shirt, V-neck sweatshirt, or you can use that for a sweater as well. Soccer jersey, thobe and kurta. I think this must be some sort of like Indian or Middle Eastern type of dress.
I think so.
Or wear.
We probably should have looked that up before we said anything.
I don't know. Whatever. I'm sure somebody knows. I don't know why that would be offensive. That I just don't know. Anyway,
I'm pretty sure kurta is Indian.
Yeah. So super cool. They're always adding templates. If you do go ahead and use the Sizely website, try the link down in the description below. If you see stuff that's missing, just email them. Eddie at Sizely is super responsive. They're always looking for ways to improve the site, and clearly they are adding templates as they go.
We have a bunch of new watchers, so thank you for joining us. I appreciate that. And then Rags had a question. How do you put those templates into your listing? It's really simple. Once you fill in your items, if you want to grab a template, click on one to...
Yeah, so let's say...
There's a couple of different ways you can do it.
Let's say I'm doing a dress shirt. I always click on display both so I can show inches and centimeters, but I enter it as inches. So let's say my length is 29 inches. I usually do like shoulder, we'll say 21, sleeve, 24. Let's say across the chest, it's 22. And so then what you do is you go down here, you click on generate. And wow, they've actually really sped things up as far as like how quickly it generates the picture. So here you have, this is the picture. The way I do it is I actually go ahead and save the image. And I do that, save it. And then when I go to list, it's just like any other photo that you're adding to your listing. Some people actually do the HTML code. You can copy the link URL. I don't know.
That would be, you'd put it in the body of your listing that way. I personally do it like Katie does. I save it as an image and I use it as one of my 12 photos.
Yeah.
So it was the last photo. And I put in my listing, in my description, that please see last photo for measurements.
Yep. All right. So I'm now going to go ahead and jump over to our hashtag boss up shout outs, people. So I've got a couple of shout outs that I wanted to do. I didn't get anybody sending me shout outs for this particular show. So guess what happens when nobody sends them to me? I go and I look for them myself. And the first one I wanted to do a shout out for is Laura. So Laura Franzica, she was on the show a couple weeks ago doing a store review, which we basically told her that her store was awesome and that she just needed to list more. And so Laura does really well. She's had some great sales this last week. But one of the things is, much like I hate listing pants, she hates listing clothes in general, but she finally forced herself to do some clothing listings. And this is a jacket that she actually, she had sent Victoria and I a question about pricing it. And I think I said something to Vicky and she was like, oh yeah, price it at like 130 or whatever.
No, I
or
actually
129.
said, she said $89.99. She was thinking, I said, that sounds really good. And then I said, oh, it's Nautica? I'd put it at $129.99.
Yeah. So she did, and literally one day it sold. I think she listed it and like the next day it sold. She paid $450 for it.
And she had best offer on it, and it sold
Yep.
for full price. Plus the buyer paid for shipping. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. So all that stuff you have sitting around that you're like putting off listing, it's probably money just sitting in your house waiting to be made. And so I just want to say shout out to you, Laura. Way to go. She also sold an amazing vase internationally, like a $600 vase. So
I think it was
700. So she's killing it this week, guys.
Yeah,
she's killing it. Okay, so the next one I wanted to I actually wanted to shout out. So there's this woman, Angela Myers. She's in the Boss Facebook group. I met her at the Bins like a year ago, I think, just randomly chatted up with her. She's super friendly, outgoing. And so I think we like ended up being like Facebook buddies, and then I got her in the Boss Facebook group. And probably about a month ago, she contacted me and said that she really wanted to, she'd been kind of like scared to really fully put herself into eBay, but she decided that she really wanted to buckle down and see what would happen if she put full-time hours into working on eBay. And probably about a month ago, now I didn't talk to her about sharing this stuff, so hopefully she's okay, guys. But anyway, so this is the screenshot she sent me about a month ago. And as you can see, even at that time, she was already up almost 24% over the previous month. And she was just kind of starting to really buckle down and put in some full-time work into it. And then this last week, she sent me a message and said that it just keeps going up. And this is what she sent me. She's up 20% over the previous month. She, at the time that she sent me this a few days ago, she was like, I've never in my life so far in the last 31 days been over 3,000, and it's been holding for 4 days now. So her hard work is really paying off. So I just wanted to give Angela a shout out for doing an awesome job and to keep up the good work. And if you guys see her around on the Boss Facebook page, say hi, because she is killing it right now. And she's back in Oregon, so she's getting all the good stuff that I'm not getting anymore. So hopefully she's finding all the awesome stuff. Anyway, okay, I'm gonna get out of the screen share here. And I got a couple more shout outs. The other shout out I wanted to do is to Emily Sabaco. I saw her posting in today's post that her little chihuahua ate something bad last night and had to go to the vet today. So I want to say shout out to you, Emily. I hope the little chihuahua's okay. We have a little chihuahua, and then we have my little mutt rat terrier mixed dog Grizz, who just recently ate like a whole ant trap. We were pretty sure she was going to die until we looked it up and figured out that she was going to be okay. But
poison was pretty
minimal. But we get it. Little chihuahuas get into trouble.
She just yacked a lot.
Yeah, she did. So anyway, so I hope you guys, I hope the little chihuahua's doing okay. And then last Boss shout out. So Boss shout outs, it's not just about necessarily celebrating each other's accomplishments. It's also about supporting each other within the community and helping each other with motivation and kind words and just all of those good things. And so I wanted to give a shout out to our lovely, lovely friend, Lorna Thompson, who is online right now. Lorna, I just wanted to give you a shout out because I know that you have been having a tough time lately because you have so much stuff going on. You were in the middle of transitioning how you do everything in your store. I know you've been ending listings like crazy, listing new stuff, revising, completely switching up like how you are storing your inventory, having your house painted. You've got house guests. You are currently like working on planning your big fundraiser that you do every year for the local food bank. You are basically burning it on both ends. And I know that like sometimes you're getting overwhelmed with that, but I just want to tell you that we really appreciate you.
We love you.
You are a great friend. You are an awesome member of this community.
And she's running her Facebook group.
Oh, and she's running her Facebook group
that she, works her butt off for and helps people with social media and all the time, not even just the people in the group. So I mean, she's constantly putting herself out there to help other people. And
absolutely. So I just want to say thank you, Lorna, because I think you're awesome. And I want you to know that we all love you and we all support you, and you are killing it right now, and you are going to keep killing it. And you're going to get through the stressful times that you're having right now. So we love you. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say as far as
That's good with your shout outs.
with my shout outs. Yeah, I think I'm good.
Those are good. I didn't know about them beforehand. She doesn't discuss these things with me, so.
I don't. I just kind of do my own thing. I know, shocking. Anyway, so looks like we're getting close to 100 people watching live right now. Hello, guys. Welcome to anybody who has just shown up. Jean Shackle, she's eating lunch, watching the show. Rita Lopez made it. Awesome. And Jay Build the Brand says, Angela, hope to see you around Salem. See, now you guys can battle it out over the good stuff. Watch out, Jay. I've got her watching like the different YouTube channels that show all this good streetwear stuff. So she might come creeping up on you.
She might be your new arch nemesis.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So anyway, so today's show, kind of the idea I had moving forward until we get to eBay Open is I wanted to have somebody new on every week from the community who is going to be attending eBay Open. And the idea behind that is that, a lot of times people go to the eBay Open and they don't know anybody, or they think they don't know anybody. Maybe they're going by themselves. Maybe it's their first time, which is the case with our guest today. And so the idea is that not only are you going to know us, because we'll be there, and Teresa's going to be there and other people that you might know in the community, but now you'll know a few more people. So over like the next 5 weeks or so, I'm hoping to have somebody new each week. So it just adds one more face, one more name.
So you'll recognize the faces. If nothing else, that'll be your new eBay buddy, and
absolutely,
your new friend. And like I know that people are going to recognize us. The people in our groups, they're going to recognize us, and we may recognize you based on names and avatars and things like that. And on sometimes we won't. So if you have a picture of your cat and that's the only profile picture we've ever seen you under, I may not recognize you. So you should probably come and say who you are.
That is very true. But listen, last year was my first time.
I'm good with names though. So
I can be good at names, but when there's too many people, then I just goes right.
The good thing is that we all have name tags on.
That's true.
And I have pink hair, so I mean
that's very true. And I will probably
I may have some kind of
shirt,
accessories. So I'll probably be hard to miss.
Yes, I'll probably be laughing too loudly from across the room, so I will also be hard to lift.
And you're really tall.
And yeah, I'm pretty tall. Anyway, so last year was my first time at eBay Open, and technically I didn't know anybody when I went. However, I knew people that I had met virtually through Facebook groups and stuff. And I'll tell you, it did not feel like I didn't know anybody. The first person I ran into that I knew from Facebook groups was Teresa Cox. And I remember seeing her, and it was like we took our picture together. We were super excited. And it was like seeing old friends. When I saw you, I'd never met you in person. It was like seeing somebody I'd known forever. So I'm telling you guys, like, if you're nervous about it, it's not a big deal. And let's bring our guest on who will be here at eBay Open next month. Colleen, are you excited about eBay Open?
Yes, I'm very excited. Nervous too, but excited.
Yeah, but because you're pretty involved, like in Casey's Facebook group, so you know a number of people within the community, don't you think?
Yeah, a couple people, but never met anybody up in person before.
Yeah.
Do you have any local friends that you've met, or a local meetup group that you belong to, or anything like that?
No, not a lot of people. I don't, that's a good thing for my sourcing, but because not a lot of people around here do what I'm doing, I don't think so.
That is a good thing. Less competition.
Yeah, there is no like local meetup around here.
Well, so where are you located?
Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Ooh, Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Well, you know what? I am pretty sure that there are lots of people in Pennsylvania in and around your area that sell. You just haven't found them yet.
Yeah. But maybe she doesn't want them snooping around her store, like seeing all the cool stuff that she's getting.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, maybe you'll come back from eBay Open and want to start your own meetup group. I know that I did when I came back from my first year. There is an eBay meetup group, or there was one here in Vegas that had gone stagnant many years ago. And then as soon as I came back from the first one, I was like, that's it. I need to have a meetup group by the next eBay Open, and that didn't happen. But then I came back from the second one last year, and I was like, okay, that's it. So we started one and put one together and had it for just a couple of months, and then it kind of went away again. So I got to work on getting that going again. We have a little one. It's kind of an unofficial eBay meetup where we call eBay Ladies That Lunch, and there are like 8 to 10 of us that actually happen to live in and around this area, and there are more that we don't know and have not met up with yet. We try to get together like once every month, every other month, and we just really go to lunch and just hang out. And we do talk about eBay, but it's not an official eBay meetup group.
Yeah.
But we'll get back into one of those.
So Colleen, tell us a little bit about how you got started with eBay, kind of what you sell. What's your deal? What's your story?
I started selling on eBay in 2002 when it was very new. I was only doing it part-time. I was a college student at the time, just doing it for extra money. And I was a full-time high school Spanish teacher for 14 years. And then I decided that I wanted to do eBay full-time and left that job, and I do eBay full-time and do teach some classes online, but part-time now.
So you teach Spanish classes online?
Actually, I teach ESL online right now.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. And so when did you stop? When did you leave your job to do this full time?
October of 2016.
See, you did it like about a year after me, but you had been doing it part time up until then. Whereas I kind of like jumped in full time, like because I left my job at the end of 2015. And listen, guys, for people who try to say that like eBay's dead or eBay's dying or you can't make money on eBay anymore, you really need to look at people like, like Victoria's been doing it for a long time, but like I just started a little over 2.5 years ago. Colleen just started. And if you look at like what we've been able to accomplish in a relatively short amount of time, it just goes to show you that that's just not true. Like people are able to do really well.
I have been doing it for a long time, but I do have to interject and say, I even though I was doing it full time while I was in school full time, I started full time about 8 or 9 years ago. I really was not committing to it in the same way that I am now.
Yeah.
So my income has doubled in the last, say, 4 to 5 years.
Right.
And I've been selling on eBay since, I think I sold my first item somewhere around 1999 or 2000, but I didn't really start selling until 2005. And that was part-time.
Yeah.
Up until, like 8, 9 years ago.
Okay.
So, I mean, my income just keeps growing. So, it's entirely different than it was 12 years ago.
Sure,
The
of
process
course.
is entirely different. It's entirely different than it was 5 years ago, but it doesn't mean that eBay's dead.
So Colleen, your trajectory, I think, is really cool. Like when you break down the numbers. So 2016, that was your last like kind of full year of just being a part-time eBay seller. Do you remember what it was you grossed in 2016? By the way, I know the answer to this because we've talked about this. If you need a hint.
Because I forget.
Yeah, you said it was about $20,000 was what you grossed your last year that you were still teaching and doing it part-time. And then what I think is really phenomenal is kind of like is the way that you increase. So then 2017, which was your first year doing it full-time, what did you gross last year?
48,000.
48,000. That is crazy. My first year, so 2016 was my first year. But now I wasn't technically full-time the entire year, just I was working at it full-time, but I started like the first month of 2016, I still could only list 10 items. So I was kind of, it took me a little while to work my way up, but I think that year I did about 40,000. Okay. And so then this year, so that was last year you did 48 and this year you're on track to do what?
80 to 100.
80 to 100. That is crazy.
That's awesome.
You guys, 80 to 100. So that's 20,000 in 2016, 48,000 in 2017 as a full-time eBay seller, and then this year on track to do 80 to 100,000 gross.
And that's where Katie and I are.
Yeah, that's about where we are. So like I did 40,000 in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, 2017, I did about 85, 86,000. This year, I'm pretty confident I'm going to be able to break through that 100K gross. And now what kind of stuff do you sell?
I sell designer clothes. Mostly used, sometimes new if I find them. Lots of shoes. I do some seasonal items like Halloween costumes that I get at the end of seasons or at yard sales. And I do ugly Christmas sweaters at Christmas time. And health and beauty and perfume and colognes is really like how I started. I would find like rare colognes and perfumes that were discontinued and they were worth a lot of money. And that's how I really started.
Nice.
And would buy really low and sell high.
Very, very cool. So people are asking how many listings you have. So actually, I'm going to go ahead and share the screen. I'm going to show people what your store looks like. We're not doing a store review or anything this week, but we're just going to like stare at your stuff, see what you got going on. So one thing, there's a couple things I've noticed. First of all, you have 100% positive feedback. Now, a lot of people have 100% positive feedback, but once you start selling like over certain numbers, like it's pretty typical that you're going to have like 99 something. So the fact that you have 100% positive feedback with the level that you're selling at, I think is pretty impressive.
And look at her number of feedbacks compared to yours, and she's been selling for a year less than you.
Oh yeah, well, but yes, absolutely. Well, and part of that is like, so look, you can see like right now,
a lot of stuff,
Colleen's got about 920 items listed. But here's the crazy thing, guys. This is where it's going to get crazy. So I've got like 1,600 items listed. But when you go and you look at solds, we're going to look at for the last 90 days. Colleen, this is crazy. You have 962 things that have sold in the last 90 days. You're like double volume wise. You are double what I sell. And so your sell-through rate is kind of crazy. I mean, just off the top of my head, I think that's roughly like around 30% or more. So that's nuts. And again, to have that many transactions happening and to be able to maintain 100% feedback, it means you're doing something right. Like you're giving excellent customer service. It sounds like you are doing it really well. So
yeah.
Seriously,
your numbers are excellent. You must work. You must work like a horse. I can't even. I mean, I know how many hours I work. I know how many hours Katie works. You know, neither one of us have anybody working for us. I do have Dana, thankfully, that helps me about 4 hours a week these days. And I couldn't possibly work any more hours than I do. And I'm not sure I could get to that many listings or that many solds. So I don't. Do you have somebody that works for you now?
I just have a photographer that takes pictures, and he just takes pictures like maybe 100 items a week or so. Like that's the only help I have.
That's good though.
How many items are you listing a week?
I list anywhere from I try to do 80 to 140 a week.
That's a lot.
That's good.
That's a lot to maintain.
It's really good.
That's the thing. It's like, guys, when we've done our store reviews, I'm going to exit out of this. When we've done our store reviews, a big part of it that we say at the end is like, you just need to be listing more. You need to be listing consistently, and that's going to change things. And so you look at somebody like Colleen who has really great numbers and has seen a lot of growth in a relatively short amount of time. That's really about buckling down. Like, would you say that, Colleen, that you have like a good flow as far as like keeping consistently listing new things every week?
Yes. So I have like a schedule that I follow every day.
What's your schedule?
Good.
I wake up and I ship everything from the night before, and I have like totes and storage in my basement. So I have to go down and pull all the things that I sold, and then I come upstairs and ship them from my house. Then I try from around like 8 o'clock in the morning till 10. And then from like 10 till 2 or 3, I try to list as much as I could. Sometimes at night I'll take pictures. Like when I'm watching TV, I try to take pictures at the same time or try to like multitask. I'm also doing like Poshmark too. So I'm trying to cross post things on there at night. And then I source definitely on the weekends for like yard sales, garage sales, but then special days, like if the Salvation Army has half off, like I'll always source on those days too.
Nice. And how many days a week are you listing?
I'm doing Monday to Friday and sometimes Saturday or Sunday if it's like a rainy day or something, but I usually try to give Saturday and Sundays to myself because I'm always sourcing on those days.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So at least like 5 days a week that you're listing. And then that's how, like, for us, it's like, okay, if we try to take a weekend day off, we'll be like, well, but we can go do some shopping because that's the fun stuff, right?
Yeah.
I also try on the weekends to make sure I do sell similars.
So that's good. Yeah. So you've got some activity going on in the store.
Yeah. So usually you have something happening. Awesome.
Well, you're very disciplined. And that comes, I'm sure, from your teaching background too, because teachers, as a rule, are very organized. So that's one of the really good things. You're already disciplined and organized. And that, I think, is one of the biggest challenges as being a self-employed individual is keeping yourself on a schedule and being organized and learning to buckle down and block out the distractions and set aside specific time and goals to make it happen, to make the money you got to make to live, if that's what your goal is. So clearly you've got that part down. So kudos to you for that. I mean, that's
for sure. I mean, I just think it goes to show you that, because, I'm looking at your store and you've got good stuff. You've got, your pictures look good. Everything's good. I haven't looked at everything, but it's not like you have some sort of magic secret to magical inventory. It really just comes down to the numbers. And it's that you're disciplined, that you're working hard, Now you said that you're doing Poshmark too. How long have you been doing the Poshmark stuff?
I've only been listing on there for about a month.
Okay. How many do you have?
A couple hundred, but I did hire out someone to cross post for me just to get the store good.
Just to get it up to where you need it. What is it? Ambassador? Is that the goal? You have to get to ambassador status or
I have,
something?
170 listings now, and I'm 4% to ambassador. So close. That's my goal. Like to get.
I have never even like looked on Poshmark, so I just know this from reading people's posts in certain groups. I don't. I would love to get into it. I can't find another hour in the day.
My problem is I'm really terrible with like I do the social media stuff that I have to, like through Facebook and helping to run the boss group. Like I stay active on there for the most part, but in general, like I'm just terrible at the whole like sharing things and being active. And so like the whole Poshmark model, I totally get like why it works for some people and people are able to really succeed at it. But I'm like, I don't think I would be able to handle it. So I don't know. Oh, somebody had asked what Colleen's average sale price was, and she says she's at 20.
Which is good. A lot of people, I mean, she's doing quantity at a decent, average sale price. I go for a higher sale price, but I'm selling far fewer items. So, I mean, she's working out to the same numbers.
Yeah. Just a different selling model.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Misty Weimer made Posh Ambassador today. Woohoo.
Well, there's a shout out right there. I wish I knew more about Posh, actually. I regret the fact that I just do not have the time to invest in that right now. Maybe at some point in fourth quarter when I'm able to, I think I'll be hiring Dana for more hours in fourth quarter. I've had to, cut back a little bit this year with some changes, but that's the goal.
Yeah. All right. So do you already have your plane ticket, Colleen, to come to Vegas next month?
Yes, I do.
What day are you getting here?
I'm getting there on Monday, the 23rd in the morning.
In the morning? Okay, so yeah, because Monday night is when like the unofficial meet and greet is. I know
it's
that
like the mingle.
Yeah, I know it's some eBay,
social.
it's some other eBay sellers that kind of organize it, but then also I think Casey created an event on his page as well. So
Casey did, and Stephanie Ings.
So there's like a bunch of different people.
Basically, everybody's converging on the same.
Yeah, so it's gonna be at Mandalay Bay in, was it the Sky something lounge? I don't know, Sky something lounge. Anyway, everybody's gonna be kind of like meeting up there. I think it's at like 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock. I don't know. We'll be there. There's gonna be a lot of people.
We're gonna be talking about it a lot more as we get closer. A lot more details about eBay Open. One of the things that Katie and I are going to do for you guys is, because we happen to live here in Vegas, we're going to do a walkthrough of Mandalay Bay. We're going to do a physical walkthrough of probably the airport to Mandalay Bay, and where you're going to go for registration, and where the bar meetup is going to be.
We'll
Some people, especially people that might be traveling by themselves, have a lot of anxiety surrounding not knowing where they're going and what to look for. I know that I'm one of those people personally sometimes. So, and I do travel by myself quite a bit in cities I'm not comfortable with, or that I've never been to. Yeah. So if I had somebody to show me a visual guide beforehand, I know that would make a big difference for me. So we're going to try to do that. And,
and Christine, Christine Bonanno from Boss Group, it was actually her idea to do that video, but she lives on the East Coast, so she couldn't make the video.
Yeah.
So she suggested that, and I was like, that's an awesome idea. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I need to get information from eBay, like get an idea of the layout of how the conference.
I've been to conferences at Mandalay Bay before, but I need to know exactly how they're going to be set up and what type of access we'll have. Because if there's another conference going on at the time, then obviously we won't necessarily have full access into there. So,
but anyway, guys, Colleen is going to have to go here in a few minutes. But Colleen, if you see her at eBay Open, go up and introduce yourselves, chat it up with Colleen,
say hi,
pick her brain. She obviously is doing something right on eBay, selling like crazy. And I'm sure, we could all be inspired by her and buckling down and getting stuff listed and selling things like crazy. How many things are you going to list today, Colleen?
So far I have 6 done. I keep like Casey has an accountability spreadsheet that I fill in. So I try to do 20 a day. So 20 a day is the goal.
That's nice. Awesome. Is that through like his VIP group or what?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
I'm not
very cool.
It's just the regular Facebook group, or if it's the whole VIP group. But accountability accountability spreadsheet. So you could put what your goal is for the week, and then each day you go in and it's like a Google Doc and fill it in.
Oh, nice.
I like that idea.
Very, very cool.
I like that we just kind of verbally throw it into our daily 2 or 2 thread. A lot of people do.
Yeah.
So that's kind of helps me hold myself accountable. That's the way I work it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because a lot of people, it's like, that's the biggest thing I struggle with is keeping on the listing, which is why we do the Boss Up and List virtual listing party. And why we do the show every week is just to get people to be motivated and excited about.
Because like you said,
listing.
you don't know anyone else around you locally that does this. So our coworkers are almost always virtual coworkers.
Mhm.
Katie and I are very fortunate that we have each other. And I know that that's not the case for a lot of people. So,
Yeah.
I love having an online resource of friends. I mean, my first eBay friends that I met and first people and only people I knew that did what I do, I met online 15 years ago. And they're still some of my closest friends and they live nowhere near me. And we talk every single day. So, and we met because of eBay on eBay message boards.
Yep.
So I think it's a wonderful outlet. Thank God we have, things like Facebook and, we can chat like this and YouTube and all these kind of things. We get to meet people all over the world that love to do what we do. And we can kind of help hold each other up and answer questions and teach each other. And I love the fact that this is such a great community.
Yeah. Christiane, goals are goals. They aren't commitments. You don't have to hit your goals. They're just goals.
It's a goal. You try.
So it's okay to set your goals publicly so that we can so that we can encourage you. Anyway, all right, Colleen, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. But thank you so much for joining us. And you guys, again, introduce yourselves to Colleen when you see her at eBay Open. She is your new eBay Open friend.
She's our new friend, and definitely we'll meet somebody new next week. And then we're just going to have a bigger network of friends.
Yep. Thanks, Colleen.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. So we're getting towards the end of our show, but we've talked about the last couple weeks. I've been talking about how Victoria and I are going to be going over the whole free returns thing, do a little recap, we're going to revisit it and see what has been going on with the free returns. They just started making free returns mandatory on June 1st. If you want to retain your discount, your 10% discount for being top rated seller plus. Mm-hmm. They first kind of put out the whole thing about free returns like a few months ago. I mean, they've been talking about it for like over a year.
They put it out in April.
Yeah, so Victoria and I started right around when they very first announced it.
April, I believe it was April 2nd.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, no, it was in March was when they first. I don't know, whatever. Okay. We've been doing it for 3 months now. That's the deal.
Yeah, we've got a 90-day evaluation to go over.
So, people were freaking out. People were like, I'm leaving eBay forever. It was like they were like flipping tables and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. It was getting kind of crazy. People were saying, well, I'm just not going to do it because I don't care. I'm just going to lose my 10% discount. Doesn't matter. Because apparently the world was going to end. Everybody was going to be basically ordering 500 things from you, trying them all on, sending them all back and making you pay return shipping. Your business was going to go under. Everything was going to get set on fire, and we were all going to die. Is basically what was going to happen.
Yeah, but
pretty much, right?
That's pretty much the sky is falling.
So we came up with this crazy idea, this crazy plan that we were going to try it out first and see what happened. I know that's a revolutionary idea. But we thought we would experiment, try it out, and kind of keep track of like what our costs were going to be. And we've been suggesting for a while for anybody who wasn't sure about doing it to just go ahead and try it out for a month and look at what your 10% discount came to every month and just see like where those numbers kind of lined up with each other. Because why would you give up that 10% discount without knowing what it actually was going to cost you, right? So I will say that when we first started, you kind of got an onslaught of returns, right?
I did. And I think any of us that get returns or sell women's clothing, to be specific, women's clothing tends to be the highest return category. I think, at least it is for me. And I do sell about 50% women's, 50% men's in as far as clothing goes. I did have quite an onslaught in April and into early May. And that may have just been one of those waves. Sometimes returns come in waves.
Yeah.
And I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed. I was like, oh crap, I don't know how this is going to go. So just like they did for a lot of people that opted into this program, now they're offering to absorb the the return shipping free if it's for buyer's remorse for I think a 30-day period.
Yeah, they sent out emails to some people. Not everybody got it. But I will say, guys, I tend to be a super optimistic person, as you probably know by now. I like to hope for the best. I like to allow for some amount of just being, I like to be hopeful. I like to be like, let's try this out. Whereas Vicky does tend to be a little more of a chicken little. So when she first started getting those extra returns, there were a couple times when I heard some cursing going on downstairs and her saying, "This is a disaster." And she might have been,
this is a disaster.
Yes,
but I did say this is not going to work for me.
Okay, she said this is not going to work for me. I may have heard tables being flipped downstairs. I don't know. Glass breaking. It was crazy. She was not happy about it. But we weathered through. We made it through to the other side. And so now we're going to talk real numbers, guys.
Yes.
Real numbers. Why don't you tell us what you got going on?
Okay, so my returns have almost doubled. So that is going to be what I'm going to say first of all. So I used to have about a 2.6% return rate, and my returns are just over 5% now. They're like 5.1%. That's over a 12 months.
That's over 12 months? Or that's
that's over the last 90 days.
Okay.
That's because that's what I can look at on.
Because mine shows 12 months, but I think it's because I have a lower number of transactions.
Yeah, mine shows only 90 days on my seller.
Big Drip says it's horrible. It's horrible.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to talk about. So basically, we did this for 90 days. So April through now, I got my little calculator here. I had my total out-of-pocket return shipping fees were $90.68.
You spent $90.68 on return labels.
$91.
Okay.
And my 10% discount, for TRS Plus that I've had for the 90 days totaled $140.
Okay.
So I'm still up $50.
Right.
And a lot of the items that I had returned, I was able to reprice higher and resell for a higher amount.
Okay.
I did not get into the individuals on that, but I did have, let's see, I had like all but 3 of my returns were for size, changed mind, size, that kind of thing, which is something that they would have had to pay for return shipping on prior to me doing free returns.
Yeah. So bottom line, you got more with your 10% discount than you paid out in return shipping.
Yes. And Christiane, all but 1 item was a return on clothing, and all but 2 were women's.
Yeah. All right. So for mine now, because I don't really have like a lot of returns. It's like, I think it depends on like how many returns you have and whether or not they tell you for 90 days or for 12 months. So mine shows for 12 months. So I can't tell you what my increase has necessarily been. I will say, I think it used to show for 90 days and originally it was like 2%, but mine is showing 2.58% for the last 12 months. So I can't tell you what kind of increase there's been.
That's pretty much where I was.
But there hasn't been a lot. Now I sell men's clothing, and men's clothing, I see far fewer returns. I will say I don't feel like I saw any significant increase in returns because I went to free returns. I just don't really get that many. Over the last 90 days, I've had 9 items get returned. Pretty much all of them were due to fit or buyer's remorse or whatever. So I spent approximately $50 on return shipping labels over the last 90 days. So it's $50 out of my pocket. But my top rated plus discount, 10% discount, totaled about $180. So me not offering free returns and losing out on that 100, I mean, that doesn't even make any sense, right, guys? So bottom line for both of us, even with Victoria having like higher returns, it's like, is it maybe costing us more money than it did before? Maybe, but now that the requirement is like keep your 10% discount or not do free, whatever. It's like,
and clearly, my 10% discount is generally a little bit higher. So I will say that part of it was I had kind of a crappy April. April was a really slow month for me, which it was for a lot of people. And then we were gone for almost 10 days in May, where we didn't have our 24-hour guaranteed shipping.
Yeah.
So we didn't receive our 10% discount.
That's true.
For those on the items that sold while we were gone. So because we weren't meeting the requirements, because we sold, we just extended our handling time while we were away. So I mean, generally speaking, my 10% would have been more than what it was.
That's true.
So I was still up $50. I probably realistically was up about 75. And I am not doing the free returns on my heavy items. So like Nevermore Antiques, I sell a large quantity of items that are over 4 pounds and ship a lot of items to the East and West Coast. I've offered free returns on all items under 1 pound.
Yeah, so you offer it on the stuff that makes sense. Like
I offer it on my items that are under 4 pounds.
Yeah. So if you have something that like is going to cost $30 to ship, are you going to want to have free returns? Probably not. And that makes sense. Like you can pick and choose which ones you want to do that on. But I know for me, of the 9 items that got returned, a couple of them, and I've said this before, resold for significantly more than what I originally sold them for. So I'm way ahead here, guys. Yeah. So, again, it's like, to me, if it makes sense, if it's stuff that doesn't weigh a lot, I'm doing free returns on everything. So sure, I've got some things like some shoes that, because I use cubic priority, it still costs me between $8 and $9 to ship. So I do it for everything. And like I said, if it's between the 10% discount or doing the free, or not doing free returns, it's like, I'd rather do the free returns.
A lot of questions here.
And also, it's going to make you more competitive against other sellers, because there are other sellers who aren't doing it. So
Jean Shackle says, it's not just the shipping cost and the discount, but whether you got extra sales because of the free returns.
Exactly.
Bingo. The thing is that because we've only been doing this for 90 days, there really isn't enough data to tell if the sales have increased or not. So
we'll never know, because you can't really assign that. There's too many other factors like time of year.
I think I'm going to need a full year to be able to tell. I mean, because a full year over year to be able to tell that, honestly. And 90 days is not enough for me to be able to tell that, especially because you're at different months. I'm up this year over last year, but I'm also listing a lot more this year over last year. So I don't know that
we're never going to have a definitive answer about that, because you can't assign what actually increases your sales, because it could be a million different things. But the definitive answer is that, at least for us, we got more with our discount than we paid out in return labels.
Correct.
That's just the reality.
Correct.
So it would make no business sense to stop offering free returns and lose that 10% for us. So, and that is a definitive real thing.
And Vicki, what do you consider heavy? Pretty much anything over 4 pounds is kind of where I'm looking at it. I mean, pretty much all of my clothing and shoes and jackets and things like that, I'm using free returns. Anything that will fit in a flat rate box, or any size of flat rate box or envelope or first class. Most of my hard goods, if they're 2 pounds and under, I'm accepting free returns on. If they're heavier, then it's pretty much case by case basis. Nevermore Antiques, it definitely has, she said, I'm not sure, said basically, smaller items can be very valuable. That's absolutely true. I used to sell only antiques, and I'm very aware of that. So the free shipping aspect isn't the biggest deal.
But they also say they never purchase a widget thinking, I want to return this item. Listen, not everybody is going to decide on buying something based on free shipping or free returns or anything like that. But the idea is kind of my whole thing of remove all obstacles. If there's a certain percentage of buyers who will make that decision because you have free returns or because you have free shipping or whatever the reason is that they make that decision, for me, I want every single buyer possible to want to buy from me. And so if 5% of the population of 10% do weigh something like free returns, then that just gives me a little bit more of an edge. And because eBay is prioritizing something like free returns,
in the search,
you are going to be higher in the search.
Yeah.
And so you got to remember that. So not only is it how buyers are going to see your listings, it's also, and if they check that box that says free returns, if they see your listings at all, but it's also about where you get placed in the search by eBay and their algorithm, because they want to give you an advantage because you're using a policy that they want you to use.
And right, it does matter in search results. So when you're selling things like clothing, and you're selling things like shoes, or you're selling things like, I don't know, a game or a toy or something that somebody else has, or there's a million of them, or there's, and someone's trying to weigh the difference between you and another seller based on price, they're going to go with the person with the free returns in most cases, I would think. If it's something, a one-of-a-kind item or an antique or something that you're the only one that has the item, or some type of collectible, does a free return matter on that? Probably not.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be finding your item because it's going to be a little bit more unique.
Yeah. It's all
so
about
when you're
giving
selling
you an
something
edge.
in a more competitive category, then you're going to want the edge.
It's all about giving, and again, going back to the removal obstacles, each individual factor may only contribute to a handful of sales, but once you add it all up between free shipping, free returns, doing your own direct international shipping, you know, all the little things that add up. And this one maybe adds like, you know, an extra 2%, an extra 3%, an extra 5%. By the end of the year, you could be adding 10, 20% of more sales because you're doing all of these things. Sorry, I'm gesticulating wildly. Because you're doing all of these things to increase your sales. It's, you know, each individual thing by itself may not be a lot, but you add it all up and it's going to be huge. And that's how you end up getting great sales, like Colleen, who was on here earlier, like myself, like Victoria. It all adds up. So.
Yeah, did we see the news story about the guy who returned over $1 million and jumped to Walmart? Yeah, no, I did see that. I did see that. Yeah, I guess he was returning computers and electronics, and he was gutting them. And yeah, that's pretty sketchy.
Vicky does need to wear head protection.
I do.
I'm very violent.
Very violent in her gesticulations.
Yeah,
seriously.
Get out.
Yeah. All right. Well, here's the thing too, is that when we're doing this and we're doing the live show where we had we don't even need this right now.
That's true. We can take it out.
When we were talking to somebody, you need the headset. So
yeah, so
we're sharing the headset because she only has one jack in her computer. So that's part of it.
So Karen says, is eBay really considering their sellers with most of their changes? I love eBay, but it seems some of their changes are really overextended. Here's the thing. eBay wants to make money as much as we want to make money. And the way for them to make money is for us to make more money. The more sales we have, the more they get. They make their money off of our fees. So when they make these changes, yes, they have sellers in mind. Now, you may not agree, you may not like their changes, but that is what they want. That's what, you know, they're catering.
They want to bring more buyers to the platform, which in turn means more sales for their sellers.
Right. Like any company, they are catering to their shareholders, and the responsibility they have to their shareholders is to make them more money. And the way they make more money is for us to make more money.
Do we like every change? No, nobody likes every change. eBay has changed so much since, you know, even 10, 12, 5 years ago. It just, you know, you have to roll with the punches. It is what it is. Business in general has changed. Online commerce has changed.
Yeah. Buyer expectations have evolved over time.
Right.
They used to be okay with going onto eBay and not even having pictures to look at, just a description, sending off their money order, and then a month later getting their thing in the mail.
Right.
It's different now. People have a different idea of what fast is, of what immediate gratification is. They want to, you know, and I know I feel the same way. Like when I bought that mystery box of t-shirts on eBay, I was annoyed that the guy sent them so slow because I wanted them immediately, and I would have even paid more to have it more quickly. But buyers have an expectation to get things quickly. I know we bitch and complain when like we order something on Amazon, and instead of getting
we have Amazon Prime,
it takes 3 days. We're like, that's an outrage. And again, tables are flipped. But so it's
Prime does not mean 2 days anymore.
Right.
That's annoying.
But so you know, yeah, Laura says Amazon era, but the reality is, like, you guys buy stuff too. I'm sure most of you like to get things quickly as well.
Right.
And so,
as Alice says, they're making changes based on a lot of market research.
Yes, market research. And you know, I've talked about this before. When it comes to returns, there is a lot of research that shows longer, more lenient return policies actually result in less returns and more sales. So it can feel like, from the individual seller's point of view, especially when you're looking at things transactionally, it can feel like these policy changes are hurting you, or going to make it harder for you.
Nobody likes returns.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody likes to refund a sale. You're all excited, and then somebody's like, nah, I don't like it, doesn't fit, I gotta send it back.
Yeah.
Damn.
And to a certain degree,
it feels like money out of your pocket, and sometimes it is. And I get that. We all feel that way. But here's the thing. There's still, and again, we don't work for eBay. There is still no other platform in the world that allows you to sit in your underwear in your living room and sell shit to strangers. I'm sorry.
I'm
not
literally in my underwear right now. I don't have pants on, and I'm not ashamed to say it. Okay, guys?
Yes, yes, Big Drifter, there is a way to bulk edit to free returns. Yes.
Yeah. And here's the thing too. It's like, what was I going to say? It was going to be something really, really
course it
super
was.
profound, guys. So yes. So the way business changes, the way buyer expectations change, does it cost you more money potentially as a seller? It might, but sometimes you have to spend a little more to remain competitive within this industry. You know, it used to be when eBay first started out, eBay was the only one doing what they were doing. Now people can go to Amazon. Now people can go to Poshmark. They can go to all these other websites and they can get free shipping, free returns, or whatever. And it's like, we still have to compete. Does that mean that we want to be exactly like Amazon? No, but there's still certain buyer expectations. It doesn't matter what site they're going to. That's what they want. And so if we want to keep bringing in the buyers and keep them on our platform, then we have to be offering similar services. And we can't just say, well, but we're different. People should just understand that.
Right.
It's like, yeah, but the reality is,
you want to keep buyers, consistent buyers, and you want to bring new buyers, new generations of people to eBay to buy things. And eBay used to be the place where you'd go and find that, you know, antique china set or that tchotchke that reminded you of your grandmother, or add to your collection from that strange and obscure category. But that's not all that eBay is anymore. It still is great for that, and it's still the only place for that type of thing.
But now when you find that tchotchke, you want to order it and you want it tomorrow. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, people are still looking for that stuff, but they still want it fast.
But let's talk to people that have a brick and mortar store, you know, and I know there are a lot of people that do both, you know, or they have a space in an antique booth, or maybe they own an antique mall. I'm telling you right now that your cost of doing business is far higher than it is to sell online in a brick and mortar store. You've got your insurance, you've got your overhead, you've got your shrinkage, you've got your theft, you've got all of that stuff, and you are catering to a very, very, very small population that drives by, or that you have to pay to advertise to. And eBay gives you a worldwide market, period.
Absolutely.
So, you know, personally, if my cost of doing business goes up a little bit every year through these changes, then hopefully my sales go up every year as well. And I'm going to adapt, because I don't want to work for somebody else ever again.
Right. But yeah, change is not always a bad thing. And a lot of times what is happening is just making us better sellers. You know, some of the things that people see that eBay does and they consider it like punishment. I'm sorry, but I've had really terrible experiences with other eBay sellers. And I'm sure most of you who, if you order with any regularity on the eBay platform, you've had bad experiences too. And so there has to be some sort of, you know, repercussions for that. There needs to be some way to deal with buyers who don't ship their stuff out within their handling time window, who, I mean, it happens all the time. People wait, they take like a month, or not a month, they take like a week or two before they even ship it out. They print out their shipping label and it says that your item shipped, and then you realize it doesn't get scanned for a week and you get it like 2 weeks later. That kind of stuff happens all the time, or sellers not responding to questions. And so, yes, I think eBay is tightening things up and tightening up requirements. But I think that overall it's to create a better buyer experience. So the buyers do want to come back, and so that they will truly appreciate the good experiences that they're getting from us. Because, you know, everything I do to be like an awesome eBay seller is hopefully bringing that buyer back next time, so that they're going to buy from Colleen, who's going to give them an amazing experience as a seller. And then that person's going to come back again and they're going to buy from you. So we're all in this together. We're all trying to just help each other to be the best that we can possibly be. So I don't know. Does anybody else have any other questions? See, we had a little bit of a fun time there.
We didn't have anybody in here doing the moderating, so
yeah. Okay, so let's see.
Sorry, I went in and removed some people.
Yep. Laura says, first time I ever bought on eBay, never came. Now, luckily, Laura, you continued to do business with eBay, because for some people, having that be their very first experience buying from a platform, they might be tempted to just never go back. And that's the problem.
I hear horror stories all the time. I mean, it's weird to me for somebody to say they've never sold on eBay or they've never bought on eBay, because obviously this is a way of life for all of us. But I have family members and friends that say to me all the time, ugh, I don't want to buy anything on eBay. What if I don't get it? Or what if the seller doesn't send me my stuff? Or what if I get scammed out of my money? And same thing for people trying to sell. Oh, but every buyer's a scammer. You know what? I hate that word.
Yeah.
There are a very small percentage of people that are assholes in this world. Let's face it. But it's not the majority. It's not the majority of sellers, and it's not the majority of buyers. Everybody's going to get one at some point in their life.
It's not the majority, but I will say that I would say more often than not, the badness is on the seller side, because sellers are the ones that are out there making money, whereas buyers, it's like they just want to buy some stuff from you.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, there's a few here or there that might do something shady, but nobody's making a business out of being a bad buyer. Whereas being a bad seller, there are ones that are out there that, you know, there's a reason why when you first start with eBay, they'll hold your PayPal money for 21 days, or they limit how many items you can list. Those are all things that came about because of people taking advantage of the system and like starting a new seller account, trying to sell 1,000 units of something expensive, and then they never ship it out, take the money and run. So it's frustrating as a new seller when you're like, I'm trying to sell stuff and my money's getting held for 3 weeks.
It's just like warning labels on packages.
Yeah.
Don't eat this. It's because some idiot ate it.
Yeah.
Every time there is a rule in place, it's because enough people broke that rule for them to create
you guys,
a rule.
Stop eating weird stuff. Get it out of your mouth, okay? All right. Leanne Gunston says, do they have to return the item via the same method it was sent to them, i.e. padded flat rate? I believe the way that it's set up is it's whatever. So like if you did your shipping through eBay, now this doesn't count if you ship through a different method, but if you do your shipping within the eBay system, and let's say I send it out padded flat rate, and it cost me $6.90, I believe they charge you the same amount.
Correct.
Or no, they definitely don't charge you more.
It's the same amount that you paid to ship is what they charge.
Right.
And
so
they
if you
send
paid
the label to the buyer.
And they send it
whether
back.
they send it back in the right packaging or not, I don't know, but that's on them, not on you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if they give so that's how much they pay for the label. I don't know how it works.
That's how much you pay for the return label, whether they put it in the right packaging or not. Again, they may have to go to the post office. I'm not sure, but that's kind of, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pamela says ordered 2 shirts. One was wrong. And one was the wrong one and cost less, and have tried to contact them many times. So it sounds like they're not getting back to you.
So that's when you open
so you guys,
case.
You know,
open a case with eBay. That's why
I think eBay really does. Their goal is to help sellers and help buyers. People have struggles on both sides, but everything that they are doing, ultimately, they want us to make more money. And they really, you know, it's like this whole eBay Open. I'm telling you, the vast majority of people that come to eBay Open are small and mid-level sellers. They put a lot of money and a lot of resources into that event, and it's all about helping sellers to learn and to network and to do all these things. And they're doing that because they do really care about the small sellers. I know some people think that they don't, but I think they really do.
I think they do. And if you come to eBay Open, if you've participated in any of the eBay Open or eBay Live events, anywhere in the past, believe me when I tell you that it is something that you're going to walk away from. If you walk away with nothing else, you are going to walk away feeling that you matter to eBay.
Yeah.
As an individual, as a seller, whether you're small time and you sell 20 items a year or you sell 20,000 items a month, they do have a different event that they have for those big, huge sellers, those big, huge China sellers, or the sellers that are selling 5 bazillion items a month. They do have a separate event. That's not us. That's not the majority of us. And that's okay. They should have a separate event. That's a completely different tier, you know? But what they do for us, I think, you know, people complain, oh, it's $275 or whatever it costs this year. I will tell you, you know, my ex handled corporate events and conferences and conventions. I will tell you right now that cost that you pay to go to that convention does not cover the coffee for each individual person for that 3 or 4 day conference.
That's some expensive coffee. Is that like the coffee with the cats?
I will tell you that coffee is about $30.
I'm pretty sure those cats, they eat the beans, they poop them out, and
coffee is about $30.
Those beans are like $500 a pound or an ounce or something. I don't know.
Yeah, coffee is about $30 per person for a conference. It's ridiculous. I mean, the costs, and then there's the union fees and the setup fees and things like that. So, you know, a convention the size that they put on is several $100,000. They're not making that back in the 2,000 people that paid to be there.
I think a lot of the costs, it covers a little bit, but mostly it's their sponsors that cover more of the costs. And then there's also the fact that if it was a free event, I mean, people would be signing up for it left and right and then not showing up.
And that's why they have to charge a nominal fee. And the other thing too is if you've ever gone to any type of conference or convention or sales conference or anything like that, I guarantee you've paid more than that. I mean, I was in sales in my former life, and that's all I've ever done. And I've paid well over $1,500 to attend an 8-hour seminar.
Nevermore Antiques. I will drink their fermented shit coffee beans, but I'm not going to pay for it. So if somebody buys me a $500 cup of coffee, I'll try it out. You know?
You're gross.
You're gross. All right. Oh, my cat mug. I'm drinking. Sorry, guys. I'm drinking my coffee right now. But here, look, that fits like this. There we go. Hold on. Let me see. Hold on.
You're ridiculous. She is wearing a cat shirt today. I'm even wearing a t-shirt with something on it today. It's not a cat. It's not a cat.
I'm wearing my notorious CAT Kitty Smalls t-shirt. He's got his fat stack of cash and
His Gucci sweater.
Where does it say? Everyday struggle, something like that. Yeah,
I'm wearing my birthday shirt.
Oh, there you go. Hello, neighbor.
My Mr. Rogers shirt I got as a birthday gift. I love Mr. Rogers.
Yep.
This came from my 4-year-old friend for my birthday because I love Mr. Rogers and so does she.
All right, guys. Okay, so we are already over an hour now, so we've got some work to do. We need to get back to our listing. I got to take a bunch of pictures today and do a little bit of listing, but it is Boss Up and List Day, guys.
Time to list.
It is the all-day virtual listing party. We do it every Wednesday. First thing in the morning, Wednesday morning, I put up the post in the Boss Facebook group so people can list what their goals are and check in. And then we have the show at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time every week. So guys, join the Boss Facebook. If you are not in the Boss Facebook group, join it now. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and hit subscribe, hit the notification bell to make sure that you are getting notifications when I put new content up or when we go live. And thank you guys so much for joining us.
We appreciate you guys. Hit the like button if you liked the show. If you dislike, if you hate it, whatever.
And if you're coming to eBay Open next month, please come up and introduce yourselves to us. We're probably not going to remember most people's names. I'm terrible. She's better at names than I am.
I'm a little better at names, but if you have it like I said, if you have a cat or your kid is your profile picture, I need some help. Or if your profile picture is like 15 years ago, I mean, no judgment, but I'm not going to recognize you.
Yeah, so introduce yourselves to us, introduce yourselves to each other, guys, because I'm telling you, it's a super fun event. You're going to find
there's no such thing as being shy. You're going to walk up to a table and you're not going to know anybody at the table and you're just going to sit down and go, hi.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I do.
That's what she did.
It's true. All right, guys, thank you so much. Get back out there, get listing, and boss up.